Hey, hey, happy Friday. It is another Relationship Friday. We are so happy to see everybody as y'all come in. You already know what to do. Go ahead and let us know where you are tuning in from. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is good to see everybody. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And let me make sure. So I am. If y'all see me looking back and forth, y'all already know. So we are on, where we at? We're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on, where else are we? We're in Club. Listen, y'all. We are on Clubhouse.
Yes.
So as you come in, welcome everybody. We got Keith in the building from Raleigh. Hey, Keith. We have Rhoda here from Newport News. Hey, Rhoda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you all do me a favor? Can you share this right now? Like share and invite your friends in. We have Michael. Hey, Michael. Michael is tuning in as well. Yes, she is the affirmation lady. So it is awesome to have her as a guest. I'm going to have her. Hey, Ruth. So I'm going to have her introduce herself in just a second. But again, welcome and thank you for joining us. We are going to be talking deliciousness tonight. So this is Relationship Friday. Every Friday in February, we are going live and we are doing Relationship Friday. Hey, Julie, thank you for joining us. As y'all come in, let us know where you are tuning in from. And as you come in, make sure to also share this. We're going to be talking about intimacy. We're going to be talking about self-love. We're going to be talking about self-care. And this is stuff that we need. So I want to make sure that everybody is in the room to be able to conversate with us. All right, so we have California in the building. Listen, Michael is clearly aware about what our guest provides. And so Michael is doing the thing. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. So my name is Rachel. Hey, Alicia is in the building. Happy Friday. Florida is definitely in the house. As y'all come in, let us know where you're tuning in from. I am a licensed clinical social worker. That's a therapist. I am a relationship coach and a wellness coach. And tonight's Relationship Friday is hosted by RDH Counseling and Consulting, where we help you become your healthiest self. So welcome, everybody. Do me a favor. Let us know where you are tuning in from. And we're picking up. This is part 2. So last week, we got New York. So last week, we started out, we kind of were talking about what self-love is, self-care, what that looks like. And then we got into that deep conversation about intimacy, right? And we kind of broke that thing down and it was delicious. Wasn't it delicious?
It was delicious. Very delicious.
Yes. So listen, if you were here last week, I want to get some hearts and I want you to put in the comments that you were here and maybe one thing that you enjoyed from it. But if you were here last week, last Friday, when we started this conversation, let me see who was here last week and had the delicious conversation. Let me see if you were here. I want to know, say here in the comments. All right. So we had delicious conversation. We also have, I want to give shout outs to those who are watching us on YouTube. Hey. Please help us to get our subscribers up. Go to YouTube, RDH Counseling and Consulting. Help us to get our subscribers up. I think we're at 16, like we just started over there. So help us out. Go and subscribe. All right. So we have Miss April with us. April, if you would introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we are going to jump into the conversation.
Yes. So first off, Rachel, thank you for having me back. Thank you for having me back.
The people said we want April, and we got April back. So thank you for coming.
Yes, I had so much fun the last time. And shout out to everybody that was engaging, super engaging in the comments. So hopefully we get that again this week. But so my name is April. I am an author from Cleveland, Ohio. also known as the affirmation lady, because I am giving the best affirmations to either change your life or help you maintain your best life. Now, I do that through multiple ways. So first, I am a 5-star e-course creator. I am also a #1 best-selling author of the book, The Masterpiece of Mastering Peace, 15 positive affirmations that will change your life. I create affirmation notebooks, journals, candles. So it's really just to help us understand how to make sure that we are our best selves, so that we can take care of others.
Yes, yes. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being here. Listen, y'all, I ordered my candle. So I ordered her course. She has a course. So go to her website, and the website is listed, memyselffamily.com. But I ordered her course. I also ordered her affirmation candles. Listen, y'all. So I got the grateful apple and my whole house. Yes, there it is. Michael said it. Grateful, gratitude. Okay, so I mixed it all up. Gratitude, green apple candle. It is life. Yes, Michael. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. So my whole house. I am a big smells person. So I love every day when I come in the house or when I come downstairs in the morning, it has my house smelling delicious. And people, it also has an affirmation up there. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So last week, for those of y'all who were not here, who was here? I want y'all to put that in the chat. If you were here, I want you to say here. But for last week, just to kind of recap, and then we'll move forward from there. So last week, we talked about self-love, how to engage in self-love. And so April, I'll start there with you. Like, what is self-love? How do you engage in self-love?
Yeah, so for me, self-love is really the relationship that I have with myself and making sure that it is a positive one and that I'm feeding myself with positivity. Yeah. Things that I do for self-love, I mean, I do all sorts of things. Some of the physical things, like just making sure I get out and spend time in nature, things that kind of feed, my energy. I'll talk to myself. I'm not gonna lie. I do talk to myself. I do. I have to do a lot of checking, because girlfriend over here, I call her girlfriend over here, sometimes she likes to cut up, with the negative, so I have to kind of check that. So I do a lot of that, just a lot of affirming myself, using positive words, just loving on me.
So number one, I love that you talk to yourself. I do that as well. And sometimes, I tell people that and they're like, But there's actually research that says people who talk to themselves, there's a lot of benefit from it. And actually, you might be a little bit higher up on the intellectual ladder. So keep that up.
I knew it.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So for self-love, Michael says, I check in with myself. Now, listen, that's one of the things that I teach my clients, right? That when it comes to self-love, first step is like you are in relationship with you. And a lot of times we don't necessarily think about that fact that we are in relationship with ourselves first. Like before I can get into a relationship with anybody else, the relationship with me needs to be on point. So doing things like you said, going outside, checking in with you and connecting with you is really important. I did a post earlier today about how the relationship that we have with ourselves, if it's not healthy, it shows up. It shows up in how we connect to other people. It shows up in how we show up. Whether it's at work, right? We are not confident to ask for raises. We don't engage in the self-care at work, taking our lunch, doing things that, like you said, are going to restore, rejuvenate us. So that part is really important. Welcome to all the new people. I'm just going to, as they say on Clubhouse, because I'm getting Clubhouse savvy.
I love it, Rachel.
Yes. So I'm just going to reset the room.
Okay.
For those of you who are just joining us. Number one, thank you for joining us. Do us a favor, like the page, share this, invite your friends, and welcome, welcome, welcome. And then also let us know where you're tuning in from. Yes, so Julia, you talk to yourself. Listen,
See?
great minds, great minds.
I am convinced, Rachel, that most people do. They just don't want to admit it. I'm convinced.
Yes. Michael said, thanking the Most High for his grace that I am here, even in my most insecure and unsure times. I love that. I love that. Rhoda said, that's right, Michael. That is absolutely right. So the question is, so we do polls throughout our conversation. And so the question that we are asking is, what are y'all doing? You know, what do you do for self-care? What are some of the things? And we want y'all to drop that in the chat. What are some of the things that you are doing for self-care? Like, how do you take care of yourself when it comes to that relationship, building and enhancing the relationship that you have with yourself? What are you doing? So for me, and this is kind of what we were talking about last week, I do my morning devotion. Like I get my core. I have a whole routine. So now that I have my new candle, it's on a warmer, so it's already smelling delicious. When I go downstairs, I get my coffee, and then I come upstairs and I do my devotion. I have my quiet time, and that helps get me right because I am. We're in the helping profession, so in order for the saying is, you cannot pour from an empty vessel. And so I work very hard to make sure that I am filling myself up. So let me hear what some of you all are saying about self-care. So Julie says, when we were in the office, my colleagues would say, sorry to interrupt the convo. LOL, love the respect. Oh, okay. So having them interrupt your conversation and them saying, so you saw that as a sign of respect, I think is what I'm hearing you say, Julie. Let me know. Now that's interesting, Julie. And April, I want to get your comments on this. In the field where I used to work, we would have conversations, and sometimes, and this was years ago, but people would interrupt the conversations, and I wouldn't say anything. Now, it would upset me because, like, you're being rude. Like I'm over here talking, holding conversation and handling business, and they would just come right into my office. Rude.
Yep.
Just come right into the office and just interrupt whatever conversation I was having. And so it was difficult for me to set those boundaries. And so I struggled with that for a while until one of my mentors said, listen, there's a way to kind of set boundaries. And that's also part of self-care. Have you experienced any of that, April? Setting boundaries and things like that?
I have not as much as I used to, because I've gotten very clear with my boundaries, Mm-hmm. But even to Julie's point, with the interrupting the conversation, but apologizing for it when they probably really aren't sorry that they interrupted the conversation. That's usually what happens. But a lot of it is the boundaries. Yeah. If you notice, sometimes there are certain people that are never interrupted. I just think back at you, because I've been working from home now for about 2 years. So I do work, as well as have my business. Yeah. But there were, people that could have a conversation and they would never get interrupted, or even, certain people that I would have a conversation with, yeah, they would never interrupt. But it really all depends on the boundaries that you set up and what you will allow,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I love that Julia said, setting boundaries for herself. Michael said he's going to buy some things. Hey, Richard. Richard is here joining us from Atlanta. And the conversation so Julie also has conversations with herself. So I love that. I love that. We also, and Debbie said that she can relate. Definitely. Thank you for joining us, Debbie. Thank you all for joining us. As y'all come in, let us know where you're tuning in from. Please also share this. Share. Invite your friends to come in. If you are watching us from YouTube, hello. Same thing goes for you all. Let us know where you're tuning in from. For those of y'all who are doing watch parties, hello and welcome. If you comment on the right-hand side, we are able to see your comments live, and we want to kind of pull you into the conversation. So we also talked last time about what is intimacy. And so we kind of talked about that a little bit, and then we're going to kind of pick up from there. So how would you define intimacy, April? And then
Now see, Rachel, now here's the thing now. Yes, no, this is where the conversation got really, really deep and good, because one of the things we realized was that everyone had different perceptions of what intimacy was, and I thought that was fascinating. To me, it starts with the connection, the connection that you have with yourself. Because even if intimacy to you is, what you have with someone else, at the top of that is going to be the connection you have with yourself, how you love yourself, how confident you are with yourself, to then kind of flow through to, the person.
I love that. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Everybody had a different idea, about what intimacy was, how it looked, how it played out. Let me hear, for those of you all who are new, this is your first time joining us, you were not here last week. I want to know, what is your definition of intimacy? And April is exactly right. There was a lot of different definitions and ideas about it. So I want to hear what you all, when you think about intimacy, what comes to mind? Like, what is that for you? And how does that play out? And April, I love what you said, which is, it really does start with you, right? Being able to connect with you. And so we talked a little bit about intimacy from the standpoint of, sex, right? Being able to connect in a sexual way. Michael said, "Oh man, Michael, what is intimacy to you?" And that's the other thing too, is hearing the perspective of males versus females, right?
Yep.
Because for a man, his idea and definition of intimacy may be totally different than what a female's is. So Julia is saying, from her definition, her idea of intimacy is knowing and learning about myself, my body, and my mind. I love that, Julia. I definitely love that. Brandy said, I love the analogy that was given last week about intimacy as intimacy.
Yes, Brandy.
Yes. So listen, this kind of connected to what you just said and what Julie just said, which is allowing the individual or others to have full access to you, right? Where you are completely letting your guard down. Now, you don't do this with everybody, right? But you are allowing people to come into your space, and you are allowing yourself to be vulnerable with someone else. Now, we understand, and this is what you were saying, April, that it does start with us, right? Because if I'm not comfortable, if I'm not healed, if I'm not healthy, I'm not letting my guard down. Wait, what?
Yep.
And just like what Julie was saying, right? If you aren't connected with yourself, it's going to be a lot harder to have that intimacy. Michael said, all right, now let's see. And fellas, I want to hear from y'all as well. So Michael said, intimacy is loving the woman I'm with all of my might, loving her in the right and the wrong times. All right, April, thoughts? What, how does this resonate with you? What are your thoughts about that?
Let me read it again, because Mike, let's see, I'm the woman I'm with, Mike. So, I mean, I think this is really good, because it shows that Mike is thinking deeper than, the surface level, which is what we see, a lot of times. And I hope though, Mike, that the thought is that you're already kind of whole and connected, with self and all of that. That way you can even identify who deserves the intimacy, because everyone doesn't deserve it. And you really can't start to sift through that until you're sure of who you are and, and where you kind of want to be. So, yeah.
That is an excellent point. And that does, I mean, man, that was good, right? Recognizing who deserves your intimacy. So one, Mike, I love that like what April said, that you went past the surface level, right? And then two, April, that is such an important point. When we are healthy and whole, it makes it a lot easier to be able to connect with the right people so that we do give. We're able to connect with them. We're giving, but they're giving as well. So this is a piece. There was a post I did like a couple of years ago, and I talked about, are you hungry? And scripture talks about the person who isn't whole, who isn't healthy. They have such a place of dearth and lack when it comes to emotional health, spiritual health, and wellness, that to them, things that are bitter, things that are not good to eat, because there's such a void, they will eat anything. And so when you talk about being able to recognize who's worth it, it really does come from that place of you being healthy and whole enough so that you are not just accepting anything and anybody, and giving of yourself to anything and anybody. So I love that point. So great comments. Y'all keep these comments up. I love it. Let's see. Rhoda said, feeling like you can be open and honest with the other person. Yeah. April, what are your thoughts?
I think it goes back to the whole concept of being able to be vulnerable. You know, whoever that you are, you know, spending time with, you want to be vulnerable with them, and they, you know, you want them to earn that, so to speak, you know. So yeah.
And I think, you know, what's so interesting. So we as women, we are very nurturing. We are open, like we give, and we're very quick sometimes to open up. And sometimes with men, it's the opposite. So sexually, they may be more open to just, hey, here you go, sugar, take all of this, right? But but even for men, I think it's just as important to make sure that you recognize your value and worth, so that you're not just giving of you out here to everybody else. So that part is important as well. Debbie said it's about being aware of my own feelings and caring for myself. I love that. Debbie, y'all are on it. Julie said, yes, even knowing yourself in a sexual way. All right, let's talk about that. April. So this whole sexual awareness, right? Recognizing the importance of sexual health. How does that play into intimacy? How does that play into self-love, self-care? How would you say that plays into that?
That's a good question, because you know, I'm gonna let you take that one first, Rachel. Let me get my thoughts together on that one, because I always, you know, I kind of combine them all together, you know, when it comes to the self-care, self-love, you know, physical, sexual being a part of the physical. But let me think about that one. That was a good one.
Yes. So definitely. Okay. So when we're talking about, now this is what I teach, right? And I always like to make sure that those I work with understand that we are a whole person. Alicia, I love that. Intimacy starts in my mind first. Yes, we're gonna get there. We are a whole person, and we are made up of multiple layers, right? So we've got the physical part of us, right? We have the emotional part of us. We've got the spiritual part of us. There's our financial health. There's our sexual health as well. So welcome everybody that's coming in. Listen, we're talking about sex right now. Y'all caught us. So we are talking about intimacy. What does that mean? What does that look like to you? When you come and share this, invite people to come in. This is Delicious Conversation. This is what we do in Relationship Fridays. And so we are talking about the sexual part of things. A lot of times we disregard our sexual health. And that's a disservice. And so when it comes to being aware of our, we were created as sexual beings. So to put that part of ourselves over here and be like, well, we're just going to leave that there and not, no, honey, right? To be a healthy and whole individual, your sexuality is a part of that. And so that includes being aware of who you are, not running away from your sexuality, but embracing it, right? And so recognizing, and so when I do my sex, so I do couples counseling, and that's a big part of it, right? Is recognizing, well, what do I like? What don't I like? What am I comfortable with? What am I not comfortable with? And so when we're talking about engaging in self-care and self-love, when it comes to the sexual part of things, one, you've got to be confident and comfortable with what you enjoy and don't enjoy. And that confidence comes out when it's time for you to connect with your partner and let them know, hey, I like when you do that, or do it this way next time, right? Because we want to be sensitive.
And like you said, Rachel, being confident enough to say that. Yeah.
Yes. And so this is now don't get it twisted, April. This isn't something that you wake up just knowing how to do. Sometimes you do need help with knowing when to have the conversation. And even with recognizing what you are comfortable with, what you do enjoy. So that sexual health is really important. What are your thoughts about that, April?
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm a student right now. I'm like,
yeah. And this is what Rhoda was talking about, where you are open and honest with your partner about how the connection that you're having is impacting you, right?
Yeah.
Again, you're in relationship with you first. And so if something is happening and on a sexual level and it's uncomfortable, I don't like it, and I don't speak up for me, well, what message am I sending myself, right? So when we talk about that self-love, being able to knowing what you enjoy, what you don't like, is definitely important, and being able to communicate that openly and honestly. So I love that. Michael said, passion-filled, making the mood right every time, and loving authentically, and nothing less togethership. So Michael is definitely, it sounds like Michael is looking at it from the sexual part, which is definitely a piece of it, right? But there is so much more. And just like Alicia was saying, honey, if you don't have me up here, then yeah, you can get, the sexual part of it, but it's so much more fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
When you are when I put it to you like this, when I am so comfortable with allowing you to see me, the real me, honey, because that takes a level of trust, right? And for women and men who have been hurt, who have been traumatized, who have been in situations where they've been taken advantage of, that's not an easy feat. But once you get to a place where you can, and you can I'm just going to let you see all of this, like all of me, like I'm no pretenses. I don't have to put makeup on. I don't have, like, I can just, honey, when we have that, and then now we can connect, right? Where I can just let you know, I was afraid today. Today I felt intimidated. Today I felt less than. And just to be able to connect with the person in that way, to allow them into me see. Honey, what's your thoughts, April? What you thinking?
And I love how you said that if you don't have me here, where do you even begin the intimacy? Because it's more than the sex.
Yeah.
So where do you then start? You have to start here. You have to connect here first.
Yeah. And that's the part I think sometimes people miss out on. Just like, well, we had sex. Yeah, but honey, you don't even got me. Like, you don't even got me. Brandy said, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and a lot of times, Rachel, I think that's because it takes longer. You have to be patient when you're trying to connect here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of patience, and you have to take your time with it. So that's all.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. For those of y'all just tuning in, let us know where you are tuning in from. Thank y'all so much. I'm telling y'all, these comments are on point. Listen, y'all are on point. Y'all are on point tonight. I love the thoughts. I love how you all are thinking. Share this, invite people. Brandy said, I'm learning that the more I'm able to love myself and really come into connection with myself, I'm able to love and be there for others. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. I love that. Richard said, question for April. Extensions from Mike's comment. So is someone who is not yet perfect or whole, not ready or worthy of intimacy? Woo! Let's go. This is why I love Relationship Fridays, right? Because these are some intellectual people that we have that join us. Okay, go ahead. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for me, right? But to me, if you are not, healed or your best self, you have to think about whether or not you're doing a disservice to the other person who's in your life. A lot of times we really think that we can continue to pour from an empty vessel. Some of us don't even know our vessels are empty.
That part.
Because we think we're just doing everything's getting done, kids are taken care of, spouse is good, house isn't burning down, no one's complaining about our behaviors or actions in their lives. We think everything's good. And a lot of times we're a mess.
Yeah.
And we have to fix that. We have to fix that. At least if anything, that way you can confidently approach a relationship knowing that you are the best person that you could be. Hope that answers the question.
I love that. I love that. And I love that churches are having this conversation. I was looking at some of the comments where they are talking about this. And just to piggyback, y'all talking about sex, I got to leave. I'm a whole So listen, this is so important. And this is one of the areas that I'm passionate about, is really breaking down stigmas connected to sex. And so that's why, and I know Michael kind of was laughing a little bit about that. But there is stigma connected to talking about sex. But God created sex. Like, I just need y'all to know that. Like, God created sex. Not only did he create sex, but let's talk about sex, baby. Yes, God created sex. He also created the sexual organs. Like, are you all aware of that? Like, he intended sex to be delicious. He created the nerve endings that are in the penis, right? He created the nerve endings that are in the clitoris, which means sex is supposed to be delicious. Like, God created sex. So it's a disservice for people not to talk about sex. If y'all want me to come to your church, I will do that. I am very passionate about teaching about that, because I think it's important. That's why Brandy tell them, nope, don't run. Do not run. Don't go anywhere. Without intimacy, sex is just sex, and it is unfulfilling. Long-term it is. Now, it can be delicious in the moment, but if you're having sex to fulfill the void that you have because you are not connected with you, it will be very unfulfilling. Yeah, it is way better, definitely. So I want to jump to the orgasm starts in the mind first. Excellent. I want to jump to the next question. Now, this kind of talks about how sometimes in the past, right, we're talking about what intimacy is. We're also talking about self-love and how we engage in self-love practices. But what is something that you do, April, on a daily basis to foster the intimacy? Now that we've kind of described and defined what intimacy is, what for you helps to foster intimacy? Because it's not just you're going to wake up.
Right.
right? And you have this intimate relationship with yourself or with your significant other. So what are some things that you do or that people can do to really kind of create and foster this sense of intimacy and keep it going? Y'all talked about up here. But how do we continue to be stimulated mentally, emotionally, sexually? Like, what do we do to foster that intimacy?
Yeah, so, for me, I've gotten to a place now where I really value mindfulness. Every morning I get up, I do my same routine. I get the kids off to school, I come back with my coffee, I listen to my favorite podcast, play a little online spades, do some game, and I just kind of continue on that day, working and everything. But one of the things that I've really started working on was just appreciating the downtime.
Yeah.
And not just the downtime, but when I have those, the mind can race a lot. So, if, I have those, negative thoughts or sabotaging thoughts, I just kind of call it out. I'm just very mindful of it now.
Yeah.
It really is an exercise. I was headed to Starbucks earlier and, I'm just thinking about, some of the things I want to do, with business. And immediately it's like, but maybe,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, let's take a step back and really appreciate where you are and the ability to even think to this point about next steps. So, just really practicing, just love talking to myself lovingly, giving myself a lot of grace through that because it is a journey. I didn't just wake up one day and all of a sudden, it's clicking and all that. Like, I really have to practice that repeatedly.
I love that. I love what you are saying, which is, building that relationship with yourself is a daily thing. And even how we speak to ourselves is important. Like so sometimes when we think about speaking to ourselves, we don't recognize that we're talking to ourselves all day, every day. The thoughts that we have are speech, it's language, and you are sending messages to you. And so you are either building you up or you are tearing you down. And so when it comes to building the intimacy and maintaining it or strengthening it, that's definitely an important part of the process. I think for me, one of the things that I do to build intimacy or to foster the intimacy on a daily basis is some of what you talked about, which is really, and somebody said it earlier, kind of taking time for me, like making sure I let me know, like, yo, Ray, and I call myself Ray. I'm like, Ray, I love you, girl. Like, girl, you are delicious. Like like I really, because I'm with me all day, every day, I want me to know that I have me and that I enjoy me, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
And so when I'm able to connect with me in that way, it really does allow for me to connect. And Brandy was saying this earlier. It really does allow me to connect with someone else in a deeper, more intimate way. Because I know I'm good. Like I enjoy me. And so whoever I allow into my space, number one, is going to be worth it. They're going to be valuable. And they're going to be able to recognize my value and worth. And that king is going to then, because I'm good. Honey, I can give, honey, I'm giving from a healthy place, right? So I'm not needing your attention all, 24/7, right? And I don't necessarily need you to build me up all the time. When you have your down days, I'm able to kind of give into you. Let me pour, King, let me pour into you. Listen, but we only can do that when we're coming from a place of healthiness. So what are y'all doing to foster intimacy on a daily basis? So let me hear that. And then I'm going to go back to some of these comments. They are so delicious. So I want to bring in some of the comments. And welcome. Hola, Edwina. Thank you for joining us. Edwina is joining us from Virginia. Julie said, listen, I thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, so I want to go back to some of the comments that I saw earlier. And y'all are, oh my gosh, y'all are
They
so,
in there.
yes, April, yes. Okay, so Micah was like, listen, there is a difference between sex and, what do you say? There's a difference between sex, and then there's a difference between sex and making love. Thoughts about that, April?
I mean, yeah, it kind of goes back to the connection piece, If you're not connected outside of just the sex,
Mm-hmm.
then where's the intimacy? What are you going to be pulling from to continue fostering that connection? So yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. There is a difference, and they were saying it in the comments earlier that, like, don't even come at me with sex if I'm not connecting with you, on an emotional, a spiritual, a mental level. There's no intimacy there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get this.
Yep.
So yeah, you can be Mr. Lover, and if I'm not connected with me, then I may run to that, right? But when I am, there's a different level. Rhoda said, I am single, so I'm really needing more ways to show intimacy to myself. I love that. So April, let's talk more about, for those of us who are single and are wanting to get to this place where, so Rhoda, this is an excellent question.
Mm-hmm.
That are wanting to learn how to connect with themselves, right? This deeper, intimate level that we're talking about. How do we do that? Like, what does that look like? How do we address that? How do we deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is like a multi-step approach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that we have to give ourselves grace, I would recommend starting small. So, maybe just start thinking about the words that you use, when you talk to yourself, or, like I do, the type of words that you use. If you find yourself saying, I can't, replace and say, no, I'm not saying that, I can, and I will.
Mm-hmm.
I will, I am, kind of start there, so you get into the habit of just kind of changing the words that you use with yourself, and then at that point you can start to incorporate just some other things that make you feel good or that you love to do, and really spend time doing those. I never really cared about nature. It was
Mm-hmm.
never really something that I was into. I don't like it too hot. I don't like it too cold. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in Cleveland. It's like 15 degrees outside. I'm running into the house. Like, I don't want to be out there. But last year was the first year where I really started to just go and appreciate it. Go
Mm-hmm.
outside in the morning, listen to the birds chirping, really listen to them, when I take my walks, I wouldn't put on music or anything. I call them meditation walks. Just
Yeah.
mindful of the noise of the traffic and the cracks in the sidewalk. You would be amazed at the things that you start to see and appreciate
Mm-hmm.
as you continue to do them, and start finding things that you might enjoy. So, I mean, those are just some tips that I would give if you're looking to start that journey.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the other things that I always encourage my clients to do when it comes to building the relationship with you is to start thinking about how you treat you. So think about, okay,
Yep.
if I was in a relationship with someone else and I treated them how I treat me, would they want to stay in the relationship, right? So it starts from recognizing that you're in a relationship with you. And so sitting down, this is a practical exercise example, in addition to what April said, that you can do to start connecting with you. Sometimes we've been through so much emotional turmoil that we have shut down. So there's a part of us that has desired to stay safe, because we have a belief based on what we experienced that the world isn't safe, that people aren't safe, and that I may be taken advantage of. So we put this wall up, and or we have disconnected emotionally. And so we're going through life and we're not listening to the birds, the crickets, because who has time for that? As a matter of fact, my ears, I'm in survival mode. So what I'm not doing is paying attention to what's around me. But what you're also not doing is paying attention to you. So the first thing that I have my clients to do is connected to the mindfulness is I just have you to sit quietly. And as you're sitting quietly, I have you to breathe, right? And then I have you ask yourself a couple of questions. What do I love most about me? So you just be quiet, you kind of think, and you write it down. What is it that I love most about me? Right. And then you think about other questions, other things, right? Because we're trying to get to know ourselves, right? So what are questions you would ask somebody that you wanted to get to know? Ask yourself those questions, write them down. And as you answer those questions, you're doing them a little bit at a time every day. And so this is you getting to know you. And then, in addition to that, you set up a self-care routine, whether it's going outside, like April talked about, or doing something that you've been putting off or something that you've been wanting to do. I shared last time that I really had to push myself to wear nice things. I work from home the majority of the time. And so there is perfume that I love, but I'm like, well, you're not going out. Or there might be a cute top or cute outfit, and I would tell myself, no, I couldn't wear it because we're not going out. What? No. So I started allowing myself to do things. I know it sounds so whatever, but small things like that really reinforce and help you to foster the intimacy and building the relationship with you. So I love that question. Thank you for that. Let me see. Julie said, giving myself grace on my not so sunshine days. I can lean into my king so he can pour into me. I love that. It's hard for me to do because I'm used to, I'm used to being the independent single mom. The I don't need a man to make it mentality is hard to break. I'm learning this is causing most of the stress and anxiety. So listen, Julie, you have said a mouthful, and that is, you're right on point with that. And okay. So I'm going to throw this out here now just because it's connected to that. So we have a course that's going to be coming out. We're launching it in March, and it's called Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before. And it is for women like us who we are used to, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're in corporate America, and we are so used to doing and making things happen that we've gotten to a place where we have reinforced the idea that we don't need anyone else. And so if I don't need anyone else, that means I don't depend on you. That means I'm really not even looking for you. That also means, though, now think about it from your partner's perspective. We've kind of put up there's a hardness about us.
Mm-hmm.
And your man don't want hardness, honey. Your man want to be, because how can I do this to hardness, right?
Yep.
So this is us learning how to reconnect with the softer side of us and learning how to connect. But you have hit that thing right on the head, Julie. What are your thoughts about that, April?
I was going to say, us as ladies, particularly as single moms, we gotta check that masculine, I call it the masculine energy, because we're used to handling it all. I'm with you there. So it is tough because we're doing it all, Yeah. So once the small doses and just taking it step by step and adding things little by little. I tell people, sometimes when I pull in my driveway, I'll sit in my car for maybe 10 minutes. I don't move. I don't come in here. That is part of my self-care, to kind of sit and just unwind before I even step into mommy this, mommy that. Mommy. So, we have to do what we can.
Yeah. That part. Absolutely. They say, girl, preach. Yes, put that perfume on, wear that cute outfit, match it with heels. Definitely, we have to pamper ourselves, and that's what Alicia was saying. So I love that. The last time you expressed your love, how did you do it?
The last time I expressed my love was today. It was today. You know, it's a daily thing, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And that was the conversation that I had with myself headed to Starbucks. It was the conversation. And in that, so let me back up. I actually dropped the kids off, got home, you know, got some work done. I said, you know, for lunch, I'm gonna go buy something for myself. Like, it's just me, you know.
Yeah.
And I went and got, you know, a cute pair of boots. And then I said, you know, I'm gonna go to Starbucks, and I love Starbucks. So, but it was the driving. Now knowing that I love to, you know, think when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I rarely turn on music. And that's something that I've learned about myself, right? And I like it. I love it because I now know that about myself. But just the conversation that I'm having, you know, and all these things that I'm thinking about, and literally speaking out loud, like, I am grateful for this, you know?
Yeah.
I am thankful that I am now here, and not like, girlfriend, we're not doing that today. Like, you know, really having these conversations is definitely the way that I show self-love today.
I love it. I love it. Same question for y'all. How did you express the last time you expressed your love? How did you do it? Right? How do you do that on a regular basis? And this is a part of kind of knowing you and connecting with you, is knowing. So there's something called the love languages. We did a live not too long, I think it was last year, but we'll do another one on the love languages. So how do you express your love? Not only that, but recognizing how you receive love, how you receive love. So I heard what you said, April, that for you, the way you expressed it was verbally, right? You kind of spoke to yourself kindly, you encouraged yourself, you focused on what you were grateful for. How do you receive love? Like, part two to that question, how do you receive love? What is April's, the way, you know, what speaks to you? What resonates with you?
So I have to preface this with saying that my love language is receiving gifts. I'm just going to preface it with that. You know, just consideration. You know, I love, you know, hey, you know, what's going on? Just thinking about you. You know, I mean, just that type of thing. You know, thoughts are nice. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated. You know, when someone calls me, you know, I say to myself, if somebody's calling you, that means they're thinking about you. Somebody's thinking about you, you know, that I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And I can see you like that. Like, it's showing up on your face, the smiles when you're thinking about being thought about. So that is delicious. And the fact that you know what you like is important, because then when we're talking about connecting with someone else, being intimate with them, this is us sharing. This is what I like. I love knowing that you're thinking about me. So if you call me or text me during the day, I would love that, right? Being able to just be upfront and honest with what you want and what you like. So how do you all express your love? So Julie said, I schedule my mani-pedi and hair appointments and make them a priority. I love that. I don't reschedule them, and I don't feel guilty. Julie, that's the part. That is the part. So this guilt comes in when we are talking to ourselves about what it is that we're doing. So oftentimes, so the way it works is how you think makes you feel, and then from your feelings is what you do. So if you're feeling guilty, and listen, been there, done that, right? I single mom, and especially when my daughter was younger, like, I needed a break, but I felt bad, like, oh, I don't want to leave her. So it's, what are you saying to yourself? And so being able to remind yourself that me taking a break, me taking care of me is necessary. It is a necessity. The other thing too, April, sometimes we think if we take a break, we feel guilty about taking breaks, especially as business owners. People struggle with that. Like, is that something you've experienced, or what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I don't really struggle with the taking a break. or I don't think I do.
Okay.
I think, but I do think the balance is where, you know, I still struggle, you know. It's easy when the kids are not home.
Yes. Yeah.
But once they're home, it gets very it gets very complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where it's like, okay, you know, the business a little bit, maybe work, you know, and I still work too. So that's where the biggest struggle is for me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Rhoda said quality time is my top love language. Yes, I make time for myself and love it when others make time for me. Our time is not something, oh my goodness, Rhoda. Our time is not something we can ever get back. Rhoda, that is so when we talk about who we are giving our space, our body, our time, our energy to, that's why that's so important because you do not get that back. And so it's an investment. And if I am not secure in me, then I'm just giving myself away, spending hours with
Yeah.
people that I'm not getting that time back. So I love that. That was delicious. Julie said, yep. Or I used to tell myself I could spend the money on my daughters instead. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Definitely.
big one.
Yeah. And so being able to challenge that. So our guest is going to be hopping off pretty soon. But for those of y'all, I want us to continue the conversation because I want to get through the rest of you all's comments and talk about a few other things. For those of you who want to come live, so you can be our guest and share what you'd like to say, answer some questions, click on the link, click on this link here. And you can come on live. So before Miss April hops off, April, tell us a little bit about anything you want to share, closing remarks, anything you want to share before. And thank you again for joining us.
Yes, I mean, thank you for having me again. I'm just excited about it. I love the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if anything, you know, you can follow me on Instagram at me_myself_family. I post a lot of, you know, positive affirmations, and my website link is also there. Just some pretty exciting things that's coming up. I have my book is now in a digital download format, so that's
Ooh,
pretty
excellent.
exciting. Yeah, so you know, you can, you know, once you pay, it immediately downloads to your phone, so that's pretty neat. You know, just working, getting ready to expand the candle line a little bit. And you know, just want to keep inspiring people, you know, with the power of words and what they really can do for you. So
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, April, for coming on. Thank you for all that you do. Here, her link to her website is there. Go check her out. It's 2022. We are going to start taking care of ourselves. We're going to start learning how to engage in self-care. We're going to enhance the relationship we have with ourselves. And if you need help, there is help available. We can help. You do not have to do this thing by yourself. So thank you so much, April. I really appreciate you coming on. For those of you who are just joining in with us, let us know where you are tuning in from. For those of y'all who want to come on live, you can do so. Come on. We are going to go into some of the other topics that I saw. Y'all were up here talking some stuff, some snack. So I want to dig into that for a few more minutes before we close out. Thank you again, April, and I will stay connected, and
yes.
we'll get in contact.
All right. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Okay, y'all. So if you want to come live, you can. This is how you do it. You just click right here and I will bring you on live. So let me get to some. Listen, y'all have been doing the thing in the comments and I love it. So I'm going to make sure I get to everybody's comments. Share, invite your friends. to join in. Julie said, yes, taking those breaks. I feel lazy when I take them, but I'm moody when I don't take my breaks. So definitely taking your breaks is important. You definitely need to do that. Michael said, shutting down and taking mystery time to be the introvert that I to be the introvert that I am. That is so interesting because hey Ann, thank you for joining. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Y'all invite people. That's so interesting because people would think from how I am, I'm talking and engaging on these lives, but sometimes I myself am introverted, and sometimes I need to kind of like have that downtime to be able to rejuvenate. So that is important. Ann said, I start every morning at 5 a.m. with self. And I love it, honey. I love it. That is definitely delicious. Starting that your morning early and getting that going. I definitely love that. So I'm going to pull. Oh, Ann is from Virginia. You are so welcome. Let's see. Let me see some of these other comments. So Ravanya said, hey, and welcome, Ravanya. She said, I express my love by turning on relaxing music. I look into events that are going on that I may like to go to that event. It would be nice to go with someone, but if that's not, I enjoy that self-care that I feel as a free spirit with relaxing mind, body, and soul. That's important too, Ravanya. And I think last week someone mentioned that, like, even though I'm single, I can still go out to the movies. I can still take myself out to eat, things like that. So being comfortable. Now that's the thing, right? Are you comfortable with you? How comfortable are you with you? Because you have to be very comfortable with yourself to go to the movie. Forget the movies because it's dark in there, right? But to be able to go to a restaurant by yourself, that takes a level of confidence and being comfortable. Let me hear who in here has ever done that, has ever gone to a restaurant by themselves. Like that takes a lot. You are so welcome, Edwina. That takes a lot of confidence to do that. So I want to hear from you all. I want to ask y'all. So I have some questions. Edwina said, oh shucks, I can go anywhere by myself. There you go. Now that's what I'm talking about. Yes, to the restaurants, to the movie theaters, shopping. Now I hate shopping, so I'm not trying to go there. Like if I go in shopping, it's because I'm with someone else. But definitely. Ann says, and after I wash my face, I look in the mirror with a huge smile and say, good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, gorgeous. I love that. Hey, Maliqua, thank you for joining us. As y'all come in, invite, share. Yes, Rhoda, fast food does count. It does count. Edwina said, I used to go to Ruth's Chris once a month. By yourself. Excellent. Listen, you can invite me next time you go. Well, then it's going to be two people. Brandy said, me. I have done restaurants, I've done movies, I've done vacation, I've done plays, jazz clubs, etc. I love that. I love that. Now, let me talk to y'all about this, and I'm going to bring some of y'all on here for this next question. So how has past experiences hindered your ability to be intimate with others? Right? So we talk about this desire to be intimate with ourselves, to get to know ourselves, to be comfortable with ourselves. We've also talked about when we do that, when we're healthy and then we connect with someone else, it becomes a lot easier to give, right, our love and to allow them into our space, but to also go into their space. But are there times, let's be honest, there are times and there are things that may stop us from being comfortable with being intimate with someone, right? What are some of those things? How do your past experiences hinder that? Like make it challenging for you to even, be comfortable with even thinking about that? Like, what? So what are how are past experiences things that stop us, and what maybe some of you all's past experiences that stopped you from either being intimate with someone else or being intimate with yourself? Now that part, I want y'all to think about that as well, because there can be challenges when it comes to connecting with you. So let me hear about that. If you want to come on live, here is the link to do so. So let me pull up what I am seeing in the comments. Let's talk about that. And then I want to talk about how we get past that, right? Especially if you are working on building the relationship with yourself. It's going to be important for you to know how to get past blockages to that. But then if you're in relationship with other people, it's going to be important for you to be able to be intimate and to connect with them as well. So if you want to come on live, this is the link to do it. Just click on it. Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous. Don't be afraid. All right. So good. So let's talk. So Ann said past experiences hinder. Ooh, this backstabbing. Let's talk about that, right? When we are talking about backstabbing, that'll shut you down, right? I used to be open. I used to trust. And now this happened. Now I've lost trust in people. So I'll use myself as a personal example. Y'all, for those of y'all know me, y'all know my story. I tell it all the time. I used to be married, and now I'm not married. And so a part of going through that divorce, there was the loss of trust. So when you lose trust, sometimes it takes a while to be able to rebuild the trust that you have, one, with yourself, right? Because there are times where you may say to yourself, well, dang, I thought you knew how to make good decisions, right? I thought I could trust my instincts. I thought I could trust my decision-making process, right? So you can start kind of second guessing yourself, second guessing your abilities. So that definitely plays a role. Rhoda, past sexual abuse. So there are a lot of women that I work with who have experienced, and men as well, that have experienced sexual abuse. And when there is that breach of trust there, it makes it very challenging to trust people at all, let alone touch me, right? So if we are getting to this place where we're like, okay, I'm going to finally allow myself to get sexually intimate with someone, there's a lot of work that has to be done, because even a smell, a particular touch can re-trigger you if you haven't done the work. So that is important to do that work. And definitely sexual abuse is a big, big, big one that will stop you from being intimate, right? Being used, taken advantage of. Yes, yes. I want to hear about this. Who wants to come live? I don't want y'all to be nervous or afraid. It's nothing to be afraid of. We'll go for another 10, maybe 15 minutes. Who wants to come on live? Click here. Click in. Who's going to be the brave person to come on live? And we are talking about this, how does past situations stop us from being intimate? And if you're in a relationship, right? So how do you process that? How do you deal with that in a relationship? Like your partner is like, why aren't you opening up to me? So past the sex part, right? And I think last week we talked a little bit about this as well. There are times where we have kind of shut down. Now, your partner may not even be aware that they're not getting all of you, right? And so if you have felt like you've been used in the relationship, it may stop you from completely opening up. Or if you have been used in the past, how are you all thinking to get past that? Like, what are some things that you've done? And I'll talk a little bit about it from the coaching and the therapeutic aspect. But what are some things that have worked for you, have helped you in the past to get past that, so that you can reconnect with this person, that you can even build that desire? Let's start there, because sometimes I don't have the desire, and that is a normal, natural thing. So how do we get past that? So let me hear who wants to be brave and come on live. Let me also see in the comments, what have you all done to help you reconnect when you've been used? Or what have been the times where you have been used or taken advantage of in relationships? And how did that make it challenging for you to reconnect with someone else? When you were ready to reconnect, how did you do that? And even from the work perspective, I want y'all to think about this as well. Because if you're at work, right, you have relationships with people at work. And let's say, and I'm going to use myself because I'm not afraid to use me. So at one of the jobs that I was at, I advocated for a senior position to be created for us, right? For the social workers at this job. They did not have a senior position for the social workers. So I advocated for the position to be created. They created the position. And of course, I'm going to apply for the position. Y'all see me blinking hard because y'all already know. I was the senior person there. I had the seniority. I also had the tenure and the degree. Do y'all know I did not get that? And they gave it to a person who was there less than 6 months. So when you feel like you've been used, stabbed in the back and things like that, what are you doing to reconnect? Because the thing is, you can't go about you can't shut down, right? You still have to do your job. You still have to engage. So what do you do in those situations? So Anne is saying, to move past, I paid it forward. I used, but I realized it wasn't the best. So my determination built my strength. I love that, right? So sometimes we have to push past that. And I had to push. So I have to push through t-shirts, right? So I had to push through that disappointment, that being let down, that anger, that frustration. I had to push past that so that I could use it to grow and to be my best self. Brandy said, after a messed up relationship, my self-esteem, was damaged a bit. It's taken some years to rebuild myself. So that's the past. Bad marriage will not affect my interactions with the next one. That's so important. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Brandy. Bad marriages, bad relationships certainly can impact our esteem, because sometimes we come away with the belief that if the marriage failed, I'm a failure. All right. So we connect the relationship with ourselves, with our value and our worth. So I love that you brought that up. And it does take some healing, right? Because if there was infidelity, right, then sometimes we can compare, like, well, what the heck? Like, did she look better than me? Was her sex better than mine? Or whatever it is. Did she cook? Okay, well, maybe she had me beat there. Did she cook better than me? But whatever it is, there are times where it can cause you to second guess yourself. So I love that. And so after a failed relationship, it's important to do the work to get yourself where you need to be. Y'all share this because people need to hear this. The ladies, the women, the men in your life that you know have gone through breakups and are struggling with how they feel and see themselves, share this, invite them to hop on. Edwina said, it has caused fear to always stay in the back of my mind. And I have to pray daily for eyes to see and being able and open to checking myself when that fear creeps in, reminding myself that not everyone is my ex. Listen, Edwina, honey, you have said a mouthful. And this is so important. So when things happen to us, when we have experiences, we create what's called core beliefs. Our core beliefs impact us in 3 areas: how we see ourselves, what we believe about others, what we believe about the world. So when we have these experiences where, we break up with people, or the last person mistreated us, that fear can be what stops us. The fear that, oh, this next person is going to be like my ex. So now we got a head on swivel. We looking to see, right? Oh, and sometimes we may assume little things might happen and it triggers us and we go right back to see, I knew it. I knew, you were like my ex. Or we make this new person, and this is what Brandy just mentioned, not making your new person pay for the errors of your ex. So we have to be very cognizant of how we are coming off and not allowing the fear to stop us from moving forward. Because it could be a really good guy, but that fear can definitely kick in, right? And we're like, well, no, I'm not going to allow anybody to get into that space and hurt me again. And so it does take work. It does take support to help you to lower those walls, right? Still being mindful, right? And cognizant of, okay, well, whatever. When we look back at our past, let me just kind of back up because I think this is important. When we look back at our past, we are only doing that to see what is the lesson that I can learn, not to beat ourselves up, right? But what is the lesson I can learn? So when you look back at your past, I don't want you to just keep it moving and not deal with it, but I want you to acknowledge it. And I also want you to identify, what did I learn about me? What did I learn about others? What did I learn about the work? What did I learn about God? So I want you to always, any past relationships, what did I learn about me? Right? What did I learn that's going to help me in this next relationship? So now you will know that, hey, okay, last time I was a little bit too quick to share things. So this time I'm not going to go to the extreme and not share anything, but I'm going to be more mindful, and I'm going to do a lot better job of assessing this person before I bring them into my space. And even after you get into the space, okay, what else do I need to be looking for? But going in with the mindset of, this is going to be a good relationship, instead of assuming that it's going to be, bad. And not letting that fear stop us. So thank you for bringing it up. Rhoda said, I think we shut down to, yes, we do. We shut down to avoid being hurt. So we put that wall up, right? And that wall, Rhoda and the rest of y'all, that wall works. It keeps people out, honey. But what it also does is it keeps you from receiving the love and the type of quality, intimate relationship that you're looking for. So yes, we do shut down, but it also keeps us from having what we want. So we have got to learn how to be able to connect, release the fear, and be able to receive the love and challenge any core beliefs that tell us that we are not valuable or worth having a quality relationship. Does that make sense how I'm saying it, y'all? Does that make sense? Rhoda said, the last person I dated, I opened up to more than I have in years and got hurt by him because he was not over his ex. Yep, we broke up and I feel stupid for allowing myself to be vulnerable. Let's talk about that. Well, first off, Rhoda, I am sorry that happened. And two, I'm so proud of you for being transparent and vulnerable, right? So we say what? We're not beating ourselves up. So we are not stupid, right? But it's what can I learn from this, right? How do I look at this situation and take the nuggets of wisdom? Because that's what we want. How do we take the nuggets of wisdom? And for anybody that wants to come on live, so y'all know I'm a therapist. I do a little bit of a session tonight, real quick, not anything deep. So if you have specific questions that you want to be able to ask, you can come on live and do that. And the link is in the comment. What you mentioned, Rhoda, is important. This whole thing of the individual not being over their ex. That happens. There are things that we can do, though, to assess early on where this person is with their ex. So there are certain questions that you want to ask. Number one, what you first want to start doing is asking the question up front. Tell me about the last relationship you were in and why it ended. Now, the reason we ask that is there's a couple of things that you are assessing for. One, you want to see, is there any emotional attachment? And I'm not talking about necessarily a love attachment, But if there are still emotions connected when they respond, they are not over it and they are not ready to move forward. So I'll give you an example. If you hear them say, now I want you to watch my body language, okay? That's going to be really key when you are assessing for this. So I want you to watch my body language. So y'all ask me the question. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the question. Now look at my face. Now my hair is a little bit uptight, so I can't ball my face up the way I want to. But if you see this, you don't even have to hear any words come out of my mouth to know that that person is still emotionally charged. Anybody that's emotionally charged is not emotionally available. Okay, so if they're emotionally charged, connected to their past relationship and their ex, they are not emotionally available for you for a new relationship. Does that make sense, y'all? So those are some things that we start to assess for at the beginning. So the sooner we ask these questions, listen, when we're going out on dates, y'all, what are we talking about? This is the kind of stuff we need to be asking. Yeah. That's what we do. So now you know there are questions that you can ask to start sussing out. And then why did the relationship end? If all they have to say is negative, 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 and they don't acknowledge the areas that they played a role in, they're not healed, they're not whole. Don't connect with them in a relationship. So I love that. I love it. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all who shared. Invite people. Hey, Cheryl, good evening. Where y'all tuning in from? It's certainly painful, yet we must be intentional to know it likely had nothing to do with you specifically. That's very important, Cheryl. I'm glad you brought that up. That when relationships end or if there's abuse, there's misuse, it doesn't have to be a reflection on you. And so reminding yourself about that listen, this person chose to do that. That's not a reflection on me, right? So that part is important. Thank you for bringing it up. Edwina said, yes, it is so tough letting down a wall that has been up for so long. It is tough. It is very tough. And so that's why, and this brings me back, I think I mentioned it earlier, ladies, for those of y'all who are looking to learn how to break these walls down so that you can connect with your partner the way that you want to. Hey, Malika, I'm going to bring you right in. Thank you. Yes, you had the guts, y'all. It's important to do that. And you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it on your own. Edwina said, listen, I'm a runner, so I'm out of there quick. Listen, Edwina, I know exactly what you are talking about. All right, so I'm going to bring Malika on. Hey, Miss Malika, thank you for joining us and having the guts.
Hi.
To come on. So what are your thoughts? You've been hearing the conversation. What do you want to add to this conversation?
So it's a couple points that I want to bring on. Like, I'm into this big thing, first love yourself. And for me, I've been married, I've been divorced. It was a very toxic marriage, and it was from my high school up and on until I was about 25 years old. And literally, that kind of took me through a mental breakdown. Then of course life happens in the midst of that. So then I tried to go out on love. I had some friends. This is my story. I had some friends, and then I ended up falling in love for not knowing that I really wasn't in love at the time, but I fell in love. And so I can honestly say for about 8 years now, I've just been single. But the last 2 of my years, it was my relationship with God who helped me to dig more into who I was.
Yeah.
And so for first loving myself, for self-care and self-love, I'm focusing more on first whose I am.
Yeah.
Who breathes life in me? Who is the person that created me? Who put all my broken pieces together? And now I can look in the mirror and see this masterpiece of strength, endurance.
Yeah.
And then once we find out whose we are, we focus on who we are. God literally shows us who we are. I get to look in this mirror, see this beautiful girl, well put together, that didn't even realize she was so beautiful at the time. Yeah. But with all those pieces put back together, all the stuff that we went through as women, as men as well, God is able to actually show us who he is, then show us who we are. So then we get to walk in our calling. We get to walk in our purpose. And how I maintain that every day, I literally had to cut out distractions. I had to cut out anything that sucked life out of me.
Yeah.
I literally had to walk away a job that was my bread and butter. I had to let go of people that I thought was clapping for me. But when I got up from the table, I was the topic. I had to let go of people who I would do anything and everything for, loved ones, family members, best friends. They had to go because first they wasn't speaking life into me and they didn't keep me in the presence of God. And on top of that, I was feeling more drained where I was nothing when I looked in the mirror. And so for self-care for me is definitely staying in the presence of God. And I didn't know that when I was broken. So of course, you know, when you're broken, you just settle for whatever to feel accepted and feel loved.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get in the wrong relationships.
Yep.
We think love is really lust, but I call it digmatized. When men, you know, we're so digmatized because we just want to be accepted. We just want to feel that warmth. We just want to feel like somebody is thinking about us in those moments. Knowing once that person leave or once I leave or, you know, I left, we're feeling empty again. We're not feeling fulfilled. And so honestly, this season of my life for the last almost 2 years, I would say about 1.5 years, is I call it saved, single, sexy, and celibate. And after I was watching your live tonight, I wanted to add satisfied because a lot of times I remember my daughters, I got 2 older daughters and a younger, and I literally haven't had a boyfriend for about 8 years now. And my daughters would say, you know, they would ask me, how come you don't go on dates and stuff? But I was broken. I'm happy I didn't go on dates. I had some friend boys in the side, you know, when I needed to be pleased, I went and hit them up, or they hit me up, and that was that. But now that I know God and I know I have built a relationship like with God more than I care about any other relationship in my life, it has helped me to be confident and satisfied in my singleness. And with that, once you're satisfied in your singleness and you're happy, like I can go to the movies, I can go out to eat. I went to Puerto Rico, jumped off out skydiving. I done jumped off cliffs. I have been spoiling myself. And once you do that, you get to walk in your purpose and your anointing. So I'm able to say, okay, girl, suck this gut up. You want to be talking to the world, you need you know, you need to come out here and tell people, like, you need to find out who you are, and then in alignment you'll start, you know, finding your purpose. But definitely I saw somebody wrote they do the 5 a.m. routine. I literally get up between 4:30 and 5 every morning and make sure I read, pray, and meditate. And I say that like that because it's very important that we put out that, like y'all said, the words, the energy. We need the energy to be put out there so that our bodies can receive those words being put out, and our minds can capture those words to say, okay, I can do this. And once we do that, we get in prayer about it. You start reading about it. You start journaling about it. Your exercise. Like I literally have a routine where I get up at between 4:30 and 5, and by 7 o'clock, I done worked out, journal, prayed, read, listened to some music. Like I done did a whole bunch of stuff. And my son's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "You get up." Like, you know.
And that's important. That's important. So there's a couple of pieces that I want to hit on that you are saying, and those in the comments are definitely in agreement with you. That it is so, and you cannot know who you are if you are not connected with who created you. Right. And so when you do have that connection with the creator, he begins to reveal to you who you are, how you are supposed to be. And when you come into that knowledge of that truth, it really is a game changer. That was the journey for me, was to allow my Heavenly Father to father me. And as women, right? So right now I'm just talking to the women. Fellas, don't go nowhere. Y'all share, because this is important. What we're talking about is really we need it. We need it.
It really is.
Yeah. So oftentimes when we as women have what we call father wounds, those father wounds. So for people who like, what the heck is father wound? So I want you to think of it like this. you have a loss or a lack of the fathering that you needed. So you may have not ever had a father in your life, or you may have had a father who was absent. He was there, but not present, emotionally, or he may have been there and been abusive, right? When you have father wounds, it impacts you the way you see yourself. The role of the father is to give identity, to give protection, right? And so when there has been poor fathering or none at all, then you struggle in your identity, like who am I, right? And you don't feel that protection. So you don't learn that you are protected. And you may come away with the belief, remember we talked about belief systems, you may come away with the belief that you don't deserve to be protected, to be loved, to be cared for. If you have that mindset, when it comes time to connecting with men, you tend to go down the wrong path, because what you're doing is you're looking for a father.
Yeah.
And you're looking to be loved and validated and affirmed, like everything your daddy's supposed to have done. You end up looking for that in others. Now, when it comes to how you relate to God, now this is important to take in. And I love Faith Wacoma. I heard this from her. Oftentimes, the way we connect, relate, or believe about our biological father, that tends to be the way we relate or connect with our Heavenly Father.
Yep.
So if the men in our lives have been not trustworthy, they told you they were going to come and get you over the weekend, they never did, or they were abusive and you were afraid of them, that's how you're going to connect with your Heavenly Father. So you may not feel like you can trust him. You can't believe what he says. He's made promises that he's going to protect you, take care of you. And you're like, okay, I'm going to have plan A, B, C, and D. And so you have not been able to connect with him, to hear his heart, and for him to protect you and take care of you. And so until you get past that place, you don't have to stay stuck there, right? But once you get past that place and you allow him to father you, he will begin to show you, one, that you're his daughter, and he will take care of you. And that softens and changes your heart. So what you're saying makes sense. I'm going to bring in some other comments for anybody else that wants to join. The link is in the thing. You can click on that. Ann said, I can relate about a job position. Woo! I was the lead mental health CM in my department. When my soup left the department, I wasn't considered for her position. The position was given to someone with no degree. Wow. Only employed for a few years, and they were friends to my supervisor. I was pissed, but never showed it. But God had another plan for me. After 20 plus years with that agency, I found a WFH position with a major insurance company. And now I'm living my life like it's golden. I love that. I love that. And those two people, it doesn't let me pull down so I can see the rest. Thank you for sharing that, because that definitely plays a role in, when we experience disappointment, frustration, or being backstabbed, that can cause us to want to kind of shut down and not, connect with other people.
I got something for that too, Rachel.
Good.
Coming from, I used to work for, the Norfolk 911, and then I went to base, and then for base police dispatching. And you could just, I'm in your boat when you qualify. And you qualified, but because they got connections or they can relate in certain ways, you know what I'm saying? You see that and you get so angry. Like, I remember losing my job and I was just devastated. And I knew of God, but my relationship with God wasn't nowhere near what it is today. Yeah. And what happened to me was I went on this, I just started doing pageantry just to boost my own self-confidence up. I started putting myself out there, doing things that I've never done before. Like, I jumped out of a plane, who does that, but I just started living outside of my complacency. And once I did that, I became a business owner. And then once I did that, I had balls. I wasn't scared of nothing, And honestly, my testimony, even till just a month ago, even as a business owner, even though you got good paying clients, you got to let them go if you ain't feeling fulfilled, if you're not being respected and appreciated. Like as business owners, you also have to know when you no longer can be a service to a client.
Yeah.
And so and sometimes that is vice versa for, the client versus the provider. So you have to, it's what I've learned is not to react to everything. Sometimes it's okay to be quiet and just say okay. And it's the most peaceful thing ever in life. And even though it may, mess with our feathers and we want to get upset and argue and God got something better in store. Like you let one client go that was like a good paying client, God gonna replace that 10 times better. And he literally did. Just to let y'all know, testimony. 3 days later, double the income,
Yes.
Gotta trust it. Trust God.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your testimony, Maliqua, and just being willing to be transparent and open. So thank you so much.
I was scared, but I said,
but you did it.
I can't be scared no more. That's
right.
The enemy. That's the trick of our minds to keep us fearful from trying things, even from dating. Like I said, I'm gonna get myself out, and I might bump into my husband. You just never know. He ain't gonna come. Where you going? I seen a meme that said, "What your husband or your wife gonna come through your window?" No, you gotta go out. You gotta go explore. So as long as he understands God's first. But that's just, I love what you're doing. I love this self-care, self-love. I love the guest you had earlier on, and I think what you're doing is great. And this is definitely a topic for men and women. And just one last note before I go. A lot of people look at the most beautiful people in the world and think that they're not broken or they're not going through some things. And if we don't share, comment, and support topics and conversations like this, Miss USA 2019 jumped off a building, beautiful, have everything going for herself, jumped off a building. If we don't talk about conversations and share our testimonies and give other people ideas on how to overcome, then we have more suicidal, then our children feel hopeless, so these conversations are needed. So I hope everybody on this live has shared it, because somebody is going to come across this video and it can speak life into them too. They have purpose. It's something to live for other than the fear and the doubt of seeing yourself less than what you really truly are. So anyhow.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you that have shared. If you want to hop on, we'll be on for a few more minutes, just in case anybody has questions, comments, any questions. Thank you, Rhoda. Any questions about or anything that you want to say? If you want to come on live, you get to be the guest host. You can do that. Yes, Ravanya said we overcome by the word of our testament. That's right. Listen, when a closed mouth doesn't, it keeps you trapped, right? And so it's important to not only talk about the times that you've done well, right? And you post and you see people posting about their ups, but it's also important to be transparent and honest about where you are, right? Like I'm struggling with connecting with people. I'm struggling with connecting with myself or whatever it is, having a safe space to talk about that, to do that, which is why we do these lives. So if you want to come on and share, thank you, Maliqua, for being the first one. Y'all know how it goes. You did a great job, Maliqua. Keep it up. There is one last question that I want to ask, and I want us to talk about. Y'all make sure you share this, invite people, like the page. I'm going to go back to something. Edwina was saying that this was definitely something that she needed to hear. So excellent, excellent, excellent. Brandy said, in my journey of self-care, I'm learning that it's okay to take the risk. Being okay with me and loving me let me know that even if the relationship doesn't work out, I will be okay. And I've learned to accept people as they are. I can't change anyone. And if it doesn't work out, then that person is not my person. Next. I love it. I love it. Once we get to that place where we recognize that, it really does shut down that fear that one of you all had mentioned earlier. So that's important. I want to leave, I want us to talk this last question. Let me see. Ooh, okay. So this one. So let me bring this. Let me see if I can share this. Can y'all see this? These are cards that I use. Y'all probably can't see it, but it's Honest X. And they have some real, I use these with my clients, my coaching clients. This is so good. What about you do you most cherish and protect from others? So I'll ask that question again. What about you do you cherish the most? I'll say it in a different way. What do you cherish the most about you and maybe protect from other people? Like, nah, you're not gonna get this part, or it's gonna take a lot for me to let you get this part, right? So what about you do you most cherish and protect from others? So what is it about you that you cherish the most and you safeguard it? You safeguard that part of you. What would that be? What would that be? And if you want to come on live and share that, the rest of y'all put it in the comments. If you want to come on live and share that, I would love to have you come on. And if there's anything that we've talked about tonight that you have questions about, now's the time to ask, because we'll go for maybe like 10 more minutes, if that, because I want to just cover this last one. But if you have questions, this is a safe space. You can ask your questions about anything we've talked about: intimacy, self-care, self-love, how to connect with you, how to connect with other people, how to let your guard down when it comes to being in relationships. Like, listen, sis, we got to get it together. We cannot connect. We cannot walk around with the masculine energy and expect to get the quality and type of man that we're looking for. So if you have any questions about anything we've talked about, put it in the chat or come up here. So Ann said, I cherish my strength and I protect my peace. Yes, listen, at all cost. At all cost. And that's something that this year I've really, the last 2 years, I have worked very hard to protect my peace. And what Malik was saying earlier, where I am cut, I have made sure my space is what it needs to be, whether it's who I engage with, who I talk to, who I spend my time with, right? That is important. The other thing she said that was so important for business owners: all money is not good money. And that's important. So being able to value yourself more than the dollar, because if the opportunities that you're being presented with are going to drain you and are not healthy, being okay with saying, no, I value me more. I value my peace more than this. Brandy said, I cherish my peace of mind. So I'm very passionate about maintaining my peace of mind. So true. Ooh. Cheryl said, that's a great question. I'm such an open book. I don't know that I have an answer. So I want you to think about that, right? What do you cherish most? And even if you don't keep it from others, what do you cherish most? And you may be some people are more comfortable than others and kind of hold things closer, but other people are kind of like, I'm going to give it out there and it's a lot easier. So what is something that you cherish, even if you're comfortable with giving it out? Malik was saying my peace. Yes, Cheryl said so important. Money can make you become a slave. Yes, honey. And Edwina was saying, listen, we are home with our do-rags on. We are not trying to come on live. I get you. Now, you can have your camera off if you want. Cheryl said, my peace is definitely what I cherish the most. That is so important that we are taking the time to protect our energy, our peace, who you have in your space, who you allow in your space, is going to play a big role in how you're feeling. There have been times when I've been around people and I just you can just feel it like, yo, you are sucking the life out of me. So that is going to be important. And once you recognize that, okay, this is an unsafe, unhealthy space, stand up for yourself, set those boundaries, advocate for yourself, and say, remove yourself. Or, when they call, and listen, it can be family members. Like, I need to just put that out there. I want to make sure y'all are clear. It can be family members. I don't care who it is. Set boundaries and stick to them, whether it's with family members or not. So that is important. Alicia said, I am protective of my time because you cannot get it back. That is so true. Somebody said that earlier, and I mean, you are saying it exactly right. Alicia, you want to come on live? Cheryl said that did involve cutting off people, including close family and friends. Listen, y'all need to know. Y'all need to know. And there's something that I want to cut this unhealthy mindset, and I want to shift this paradigm of, well, if it's, well, that's this is what you hear a lot of times. Well, you only get one, and they fill in the blank. Well, that's just how they are. Well, you only get one, such and such. And no. If that person is unhealthy, cut them off. Cut them off. The other thing to recognize is family is not just blood. So I want y'all to hear that, and I want you to receive that. Family is not just blood. And so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I teach my clients about this. And this is what I have them to do. I have them to identify, well, what is family, right? What does family do? What are the expectations that you have of family? And see, is my family meeting these expectations? They may not be. And if they're not meeting those expectations, then you need to change your expectations that you're having of them. And the friend, and you might need to put them in a different category. There's the pastor, Kim Brown, talks about that, the boxes that we have people in. We might need to do some rearranging and some shifting around, because, we have family up here, we've got friends, we've got acquaintances, and then we've got like coworkers, blah, blah, blah. But we have people in the family or friend box that they probably need to go down to the acquaintance box, only because they don't fill the requirements. They are not meeting those needs, and you treating them like they are friends when they probably need to go there just a little bit lower, right? So assessing, reassessing, and continually assessing who you are giving your energy and your time to. Does that make sense? How I'm saying it, y'all? So put a yes in there if it makes sense. Ann said, I tell my daughter every day I don't have any more time today for her every day because she'll suck. I don't mean to laugh, Ann, but this is so funny how you're saying it. I say sorry about your bad luck today, and I put her on mute. If she's choosing drama, then it's a choice. Listen, Ann. Now I'm assuming your daughter is an adult, okay? But sometimes we have to do that. We have to set boundaries, and we have to encourage them to get the help that they need. But again, it's their choice, and especially as an adult. If that's what the lifestyle that she chooses, right, a drama-filled lifestyle, that's her decision, and that's her right to do that. At the same time, it's your right to back up and to not be connected to that. Okay. Good. You are so welcome. I'm glad. Drive safe. Okay, so Ann said, yes, I'm 33 years old, so her daughter is grown. So absolutely. So people, I have enjoyed being on live. So listen, we used to do Relationship Fridays, which is what this is. And we talk, as y'all can see, is a range of conversation that we have. So we talk about sex, we talk about all kinds of stuff. Tonight and the last two Fridays or last 2 weeks, we have been talking about self-care, intimacy, self-love. But there's a couple of things that I want to say and kind of get feedback from you all. We used to do Relationship Fridays every Friday. This past year, year and a half, we didn't do it. I love it, but I want to make sure that it is something that you all would enjoy, right? I don't want to just be going live just for the sake of going live, but if it's something that's going to be beneficial to you all and y'all are willing to join in and share, this has been delicious. Like, we need these kind of conversations. Good, Maliqua. I'm glad that you love it. I'm glad that you were able to be here. Then y'all let me know in the comments. Is this something that you want us to bring back on Fridays at 7 o'clock? If so, put it in the comments. Let me know. Also, I am open to doing answering questions and kind of giving you feedback from a therapeutic and coaching perspective. So Ravanya said, when we open up about our insights of our ups and downs in any life circumstances, we need to be careful with who, when, and how this part of our life circumstances is shared. Knowing this is the time that this can be spoken out to, be supporting to other circumstances, self-care in doing this. So that's important. And I think what I'm reading is that when we do share, you're selective, right? Of who you are giving your information to. And especially when you notice that, okay, I've shared this with this person, they're supposed to be my family or my friend, and they are clearly not. Okay, noted, noted. And you move that person down. So you may have had them as best friend, but if they have consistently shown that they don't have the same values and ethics that you do, reassess, bring them down. So that is important. Anne says she loves it. Edwina says she loves it. Alicia said, keep doing it. Okay. Definitely keep this going. Ravanya is saying yes. What other topics would y'all like us to talk about? You can do something like First Fridays if you don't want to do this every Friday. Gotcha. Yep. What are some other topics that you all would love for us to talk about? What would be interesting to you guys? So while y'all are dropping that in there, I want to share with you all a couple of resources and opportunities that we have at RDH Counseling and Consulting. So you all know we do therapy. We do group therapy, we do couples therapy, but then also I do coaching, relationship coaching. I also help businesses and their employees become their healthiest selves. So we provide that service as well. For those of you all who are saying, listen, I have got to get it together. I've got to start treating me the way I need to, right? I got to start thinking about the relationship that I have with myself. I want to put the information out here for our self-care course. It's called Self-Care, Becoming Your Own Best Friend. This is going to get you right. So for all of my ladies that have been saying, listen, I don't treat me well at all. Like, be honest, we already know that. For those of us who are there, go ahead, sign up for the course. It's pre-recorded, so you can go at your own pace. You also get a chance to be connected with other women. We have a Facebook group that you can come in. We are encouraging each other. We are challenging each other to become our healthiest selves, to push past everything that would stop us from trying to become our healthiest self, so that we can connect with others when we're ready. We can connect with them in a healthy way. The other thing that I'm really excited about, so listen, in March, I am doing a live 6-week coaching course, and it is called Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before. And y'all heard me mention it earlier. I'm really excited about this because this course is going to help get you right. So for the ladies who are saying, listen, I'm in a relationship and I know my walls are up, or I want to be in a relationship, but it's really hard for me to be soft and I don't know how to connect and, I got to do what? Yeah, you need to come because I'm going to show you how to lower those walls. I'm going to show you how to connect with your softer side. We're going to walk you through the process of healing from the past trauma that has happened to you, and get you to a place where you are healthy, where you are whole, so that you can have the relationship that you're looking for. So it's important for you to go through this to get yourself right so that when it's time to connect with your ideal partner, your ideal mate, you're in a good space and you're able to pour, right, from wholeness. Okay, so that is important. If you're interested in that, I want you to either message us through Facebook, or you can go to our website, www.rdhcounseling.com, and send us a message there. Hey, I want to join the group, and we will send you the information. We will sign you up, and we will put you on the wait list so that you get first dibs when the course becomes available. And so you can do that. The information is in the link. Anne said, how to turn my husband into a friend. I just walked in. He's side-eyed. What's his problem, Anne? Tell him to get it together. It is interesting. It's a much needed resource and course. It's going to get you right. And it's 2022. This is the year for marriages. And so you want to make sure that if you're looking to get married, that you are all the way how you need to be. You need this course. Love like you've never been hurt before. Yes. So you can go to our website and connect with us there, or you can message us on Facebook. I'm past his time now. Girl, I'm past his time. What does that mean? You're past his, it's time to connect with him? Okay, we'll get off this live. And that's one of the things. So we have challenges. We're also going to be doing a couples portion, right? And that's going to be delicious because we're going to set you up with a local vendor, and you're going to be able to go on dates. Like, we're going to really coach you so that your relationship, your marriage is delicious as possible. In the Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before, you are going to get homework assignments. We are going to have some amazing people that come in and take part and share as well. So there is a lot of deliciousness to the course. So it has been great talking to you all. I will see you next Friday, and we are going to talk more. So it has been real. I want you, trauma without drama. T-shirt, love like you've never been hurt before. Yes. So share this. Thank y'all for everybody who shared. Thank y'all for hanging in here talking. This has been delicious. So I'll see you next Friday, 7:00. Share. Make sure you let people know, you invite them. And good night. Y'all be safe. And I'll see you next week. All right. Bye. Thank you for sharing, Ann. And thank you everyone else that shared as well. Alicia, drive safe. Yes, and very delicious. And go get some delicious time with your boo jank. That's another thing that we teach. We talk about how to connect sexually with your partner, because that's important. Oh, y'all love me. Oh, I love y'all too, y'all. All right, good night, y'all. Take care. Be blessed.